Hello chess lovers, Suren here, and in this video I want to share with you a very exciting game played between Russian chess master Evgeny Znosko-Borovsky and the 4th world chess champion Alexander Alekhine. Though I have to tell you that Alekhine would become world chess champion only 2 years later in 1927. But meanwhile, this game was played in 1925 in Paris, and Znosko-Borovsky, who was playing with the white pieces, opened up with e4, to which Alekhine responded with a defense named after him: knight f6, e5, knight d5, c4, knight b6, d4, d6, and f4. Against Alekhine defense, white is choosing 4 pawns attack. A very aggressive approach. White is gaining space, but the downside of this line is that white has to be very careful. One wrong step and white can find himself overextended. D takes e5, f takes e5, knight c6 targeting the pawn on d4, bishop e3, bishop f5, knight f3, e6, knight c3. Both players are developing their pieces, nothing special, and knight b4 with knight c2 threat. In here, bishop e7 or bishop g4 are solid continuations, but instead we have knight b4. Rook c1, white is neutralizing the threat. In return, black is undermining white's center. a3, and instead of thinking about moving back the knight, Alekhine is going for complications and is capturing on d4. But in return, instead of recapturing with the bishop or with the knight, Znosko-Borovsky is adding oil to the fire and is attacking black queen. And it turns out that with this move Alekhine is very happy, and he himself starts a fire on the board, and instead of covering his queen, he goes for a queen sacrifice on move 12, and we have d takes c3. Look at this craziness, guys. Alekhine is sacrificing his queen, but let's see, where is black's compensation? So all white could do was to accept the queen sacrifice, and rook takes d8, attacking white queen. Queen b3, c takes b2, queen takes b2, and there comes the knight, knight a4. Suddenly black pieces got very active and started to harass white queen. Queen a1, and knight c2 check, forcing white to give up the exchange. Rook takes c2, bishop takes c2, and if we have a look at the position, black has a rook and a bishop against white queen, and according to Eugene, this is equal. Right now the threat is rook d1 check, knight d4, white is neutralizing the threat, bishop goes back on g6, and c5. Znosko-Borovsky is sacrificing a pawn in order to switch his light squared bishop into the attack and create counter-attacking chances. Knight takes c5, bishop b5 check, knight d7, and queen c3. Looks like that white managed to repel black's attack, and now it's black who is on the defensive side. a6, black wants to break up the pin. Bishop takes d7 check, rook takes d7, queen c8 check, rook d8, and queen takes b7. An interesting idea by Znosko-Borovsky. He is giving up his knight on d4, and in return keeps on harassing black king. Queen c6 check, rook d7, and by going for that sacrifice and pinning black rook, Borovsky gains precious time and manages to castle king's side. Right now the threat is rook d1, winning black rook. That's why Alekhine's response is nearly forced. We have bishop d3, although king e7 also works, but bishop d3 is more active, and now rook d1 can be met with king e7 or even bishop b5. But instead of playing rook d1, Znosko-Borovsky made a very interesting move, and he played rook takes f7. Look at this beauty, guys. Fireworks are all over the board. Of course, king takes f7 can be met with queen takes d7, and black is losing. Yeah, the bishop is going to drop. That's why to rook takes f7, Alekhine responded with bishop c5 check. He manages to find a very beautiful defensive resource. If queen takes c5, then already black can win white's rook. That's why white played king h1 and bishop b5. If we have a look at the position, Black successfully repelled white's attack, and all white can do is to give a perpetual check, otherwise white can easily lose the game. We have queen e6 check, rook e7, and after rook takes e7 check, bishop takes e7. Znosko-Borovsky gave perpetual check. Bishop d8 followed, queen e6 check, bishop e7, there it goes. After bishop d8, queen e6 check, the players agreed to draw because this is a threefold repetition. Knight bishop e7, then threefold repetition appears on the board, and this is a draw. A fighting draw, right? If you remembered previously, I've already shared with you the famous immortal draw game played between Karl Hompe and Philipp Meitner in 1872 in Vienna. But I think that this game also deserves to be called the immortal draw game. Moreover, this game is played by higher level players, and in my humble opinion, this one is even more spectacular. Anyways, would like to know your comments about this game as well. Leave your comments, and meanwhile let's solve a chess puzzle. Please take a look at this position and try to find the winning line for black. It's black to move, and I will wait for your answer in the comment section. Thanks for watching. In the end, feel free to check out these suggestions as well. I will see you in my next video. Take care.